innovation in my pocket. But now, we're on trifolds. We're literally carrying a full-blown massive tablet in our pockets. If you told me 4 or 5 years ago that we would have a screen this big folding up in our jeans, I would have simply said that's completely unfathomable. And it seems
stuff like that, and then also fitting into pockets, like I said. But of course, this phone unfolds into a tablet, and that is a 10-inch tablet, a 10-inch display coming out of your pocket from a regular smartphone. You might think the folding mechanism,
sharp device. You know, if you're holding this in one hand on this side, it's still okay. But this, remember that pokey little bits here? On this side, after about
it back into something like this, which fits into your pocket. I mean, if the assignment was to make a phone that's also a tablet, well, the engineering team has delivered. They've given an extra lip so you can...
It's not as wide as other phones. I have no problems typing. I even don't mind playing some games on the outside screen, like a game like Wild Rift. With foldable phones, games like Wild Rift need specific kinds of aspect ratios, like a regular smartphone.
And because it's so incredibly expensive to produce, they aren't rushing to make a sequel anytime soon. Honestly, that might make the longevity of this current trifold.
That's it. Now the positives. The positives is, as I said, it doesn't feel too heavy. It doesn't feel too bulky, which is great. The only time I've actually felt this...
Foldable phone, which has an 8-inch screen in terms of like the vertical measurements. So the Z Trifold is actually bigger than the iPad mini screen. It delivers on that tablet experience more than the iPad mini, has better software.
No hiding it. It's one of the thickest and heaviest phones you can buy. It weighs in at a massive 309 grams. This is before any case. To put that into perspective, picking up the iPhone...
More importantly, it was hard to ignore how thick and heavy it felt to me. To give you a context, see, it looks a lot like the Fold 7 from the front and the back, but it's quite a bit thicker than the Fold 7.
And I am talking about the Huawei Mate XT here as well, but any other foldable from any other brand for years, I've had no issues. You know, if there's a little bit of a bang here, what's going to happen is you might get a little bit...
It's still pretty cool. And yes, it does look pretty much the same from the front and the back as the Fold 7. It's got, you know, the same camera setup as well and has the same armor aluminum frame around it. But it doesn't feel...
always work well as it does on the Fold 7. Sometimes it glitches or needs to restart the app. But I found a trick. More often than not, the absolute best way to use these stubborn apps...
Apply and then remove is a Z Fold 7 anti-reflective screen protector does actually work on this, which is cool. I did remove it later because I did get a crack through it.
Hey, it can happen to anyone. And you know, the replacement cost of this inner display can actually cost you almost about a premium mid-range smartphone like the OnePlus 15R. So
that only lasted for 40 seconds. Afterwards, the trifold just got dimmer and dimmer, and here it is after about 3 minutes. It's way less bright now, even on the max brightness setting. So the main screen
display. So every time I don't want to use this cover display, I have to jump in to that big display. And I was really, really worried, right? And I was like, oh my God, if that gave me 6 hours, cut that oh my God part out.
Is something I actually liked on the Fold 7. So you could have the apps continue no matter whether you go from open to closed form or from closed to open form. Also, if creases...
Still, to be totally honest, when you're using the phone at night, in bed or outside during the day, your brain just filters it out. When you're actually focusing on the screen itself to watch a movie...
7, which had, you know, a flex view format where you could use it as a kickstand to watch content or even like take photos or shoot videos. You can't do any of that with this. And you know, the speakers, they're okay.
A little bit over wireless headphones, mainly because it just doesn't sound right. It feels off, weird, strange. Yeah. So I think that was not a good... I think Samsung could have, you know...
Facebook and TikTok open, scrolling on shorts on all three of them. And then the manga experience is really good. If you saw my other video, like it's literally like reading a book, but honestly even bigger than actual manga.
Is larger. Regardless, both hinge hold the phone firmly, so the main screen doesn't feel floppy and it's very straight. When the trifold is opened up, its software is just like the software on Samsung tablets.
On the inside screen, so you can have 8 apps on the screen at once. I know that sounds crazy. Who would do that? Believe me, there's people that will do that. But at the same time, it's better to have features than not have them, and the flex.
So yeah, you have that. If I want to also maybe throw in a calculator as a fourth, want to kind of calculate how expensive the strip is going to be and all the costs and everything, I can do that too. It's a floating window.
It's the same way, opens in a floating window. The cool thing about Samsung DeX on this built-in screen and just in general now is that you have the ability to have multiple desktops. And what that means is, like, let's say you open 5 apps in one desktop.
So first, I try to edit videos on LumaFusion. It works really well. No issues whatsoever. Actually, it's really, really nice. I pretty much
a little bit, but it stays at the bottom, and you still have your home screen layout and everything. But now in Samsung DeX, when you tap an app, instead of it opening in full screen, it opens automatically in a floating window or a window.
And maybe a kickstand built into the case would be nice. But the camera bump is really big. When you just put the phone on the table, it wobbles a lot. And for having such a large camera bump, the cameras are...
And they pretty much are. And I don't really like the cameras here. Just take a look at some of the photos that I've taken, but it's nothing that's impressed me.
The fact that it's 3x, because I'm using the Oppo Find X9 Pro to record this video, and this has a 3x telephoto camera, but that 3x camera is amazing. So I'm not talking about the zoom length, I'm talking about the sensor.
Hour longer than the Fold 7. So having 3 batteries in the trifold doesn't automatically make the battery life amazing, but with a lower resolution screen, it definitely lasted longer than I expected. But
in that sense. But with the Z trifold, it's actually playable, and I played a couple ranked matches with the full screen, and it's not the best. You still can't see as much as a regular phone or the outside screen of the Z trifold, but it works. And then here's
taking loads of pictures and doing some heavy maps navigation. The kind of stuff that you do when you're in a country where you know nothing is. The battery didn't last that long. Normally by early evening.
It is hard to live with. As in, when the phone is folded, it should still feel like a normal phone with a big regular cover screen, because that is what we're used to. This
fucked off from touch, and then boom, you just fold the right panel, and then you have the same exact experience as the Z Fold 7 in terms of like using the external screen while using the main cameras on a tripod.
Turn around in this vertical mode, and then you can log in, which is annoying. And you'll see a lot of apps, like example for here, I'm just gonna open X, right here. This is X.
Point. When it sits up at that point, it's actually a better experience than the regular foldable phones, because you can still see the external screen and the main camera, and it's holding itself up with its own built-in hinge. So that
you're typing, which is a bit frustrating, right? What are my final thoughts on this device? I think this is a great first attempt by Samsung. I think it has
that are more video editing friendly. Yeah, it's not the most amazing experience, but a lot of the videos I put out recently, I edited on the Z trifold. I'm doing a short series where like I'm, pursuing YouTube.